My name is Lonnie Knotts. I'm with the Oregon Board of Licensed Professional Counselors and Therapists. All right. I have a master's in business, so I have no idea what you guys do. You guys have chosen a field where you get a lot of satisfaction, but you don't earn a lot of money. All right? Now, I'm here to help you. That's my job. Okay? Everyone else on the board has different things that they do, but my job is to make sure that you either get registered or licensed. And I want you to tell you, don't stress about it. It's probably the easiest thing that you'll ever do. There are 6 things that you need to do in order to register with the board, okay? An application, a transcript, form number 7, which is a work plan, a professional disclosure statement, fingerprints, and of course, money. All right? Those are the 6 things. Very easy. If you get stuck on a form when you're doing it, we'll go through all those. Don't worry about it, because guess what? I'm going to call you anyway. All right? So it's a very easy process, so don't stress about it. If you got any questions, you got my email address and my telephone now. I will tell you, email is easier to get a hold of me than phone, because I normally have the phone stuck here and I'm doing this. All right? So this is our website, www.oregon.gov/OBLPCT. Plenty of information here on the main webpage. All right, the things I want to point out are the gray tabs where most everything's at. However, if you're looking for a supervisor when you get out of here, we have a supervisor registry. There are currently over 200 LPCs and LMFTs on this list. Every one of them has been vetted. You'll see that it says either candidate or supervisor. Supervisor means they met all the requirements. Candidate means they're working on it, but they can still supervise. All right? All throughout the state. We have people also in Alaska, Thailand, a few other places we have supervisors. So there are supervisors all over the place. And again, those are LPCs and LMFTs. But you aren't restricted to just those graduate level mental health professionals. You can also use an LCSW, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, psychiatric nurse practitioner. All of them have graduate level mental health degrees, and so they are eligible to supervise you. All right, that's the one area I wanted it on the main web page for you to know about. Now, the other place we're going is to forms, okay? This is what you need to worry about right now. Form 1 is the application. A 3-page form, most of it's demographic, okay? Who you are, your birth date, your social security number, your email address. We do everything by email now. We've gotten rid of chopping down trees. Now we just go ahead and do it electronically. All right, so I need to have a good email address for you, because that's how I'm going to contact you. Starting next week, that's how I'm going to send you your initial packet. All right, that's how you renew. That's how you do everything. Is going to be done on the website. And the application, it's got the email address. Please, it's down a little bit further. Please make sure you fill it out. Official email address. If you change email addresses, let me know, because if you don't, you're not going to get the stuff I send you. All right? Page 1, basically demographic and where you live and where you're going to work. If you don't know where you're going to work, don't put it in, don't stress about it. You can start the registration process without having a job yet. You don't get everything finished until you do have a job. Okay? Now, the only other thing on here that you need to worry about is page 3. We ask you all these questions about, did you do this, did you do that? You know, if you answer no, you don't have to worry about it. If you answer yes on any of them, don't stress about it. Just tell me what happened, okay? It's when you don't tell me what you did and I find out about it that stuff happens. Okay, for the most part, any criminal activity, if you had anything, if you had a DUI, drunk in public, dancing on the lawn, whatever it happens to be, all right, believe me, I'll find out about it, okay? So let me know about it ahead of time. Again, not a big deal, all right? So that's the application, all right? The other important form that you really have to worry about is form number 7. That's not what I want to do. I want to go over here. There we go. This mouse doesn't like me. There we go. Form number 7. Intern supervised clinical work plan, okay? There's 4 pages to this. Page 1 is where you're working. If you have more than 2 places, just add a piece of paper or throw it on the back and write it down, just so I know where you're working, okay? It's partly so I can find you if I need you, okay? Page 2 and 3, your supervisor fills out, so you don't even have to worry about that, all right? Make sure that they do it. And then page 4, guess what? Signature. Another easy form, all right? All this is information for me, demographic information. If you happen to, when you register and then a year down the road you change jobs, give me a holler, I'll tell you what forms you need. Basically going to be a Form 7. And the most important document to you as registered interns. And this is where my background comes in as being an MBA. We have what's called a professional disclosure statement. I'm sure you're aware of this. You should have already done one as a student intern. All right, this is the sample. This right here is your advertising, okay? Yes, the board says you have to do this. You have to tell your clients all this information. But guess what? You can't afford to do much advertising. So your biggest thing is going to be by word of mouth. Guess how they find out about you? Okay, all your information here, your education, who you are, where you've been, what you do, how much you charge, it's all right there. Personalize it. You can make it this dry piece of paper if you want, all right, but make it about you, because guess what? One of your patients happens to be out talking with someone else and say, I know this perfect person. Oh, wait a minute. They happen to have your PDS. Guess what? It's got all the information about you. You just probably got yourself a new client. All right, use this, okay? Make sure it fits who you are. Don't make it extra long, like 4 or 5 or 6 pages, but make it about you, okay? So that they understand who you are, all right? So that form right there, I think, is the most important form that you're going to be doing. All right, so we've already talked about 3 of the 6 things you need to do. God, this is so easy. All right. The only other thing that's really important right now, fingerprint instructions. All you have to do is follow this particular and all you do is make a phone call or an email. You set up an appointment. You got 10-minute block where you go down and do their fingerprints. They do it electronically and send it to me, and you're done. All right, not a big deal. And all you have to do is follow the instructions. All right, that's 4. 2 more. Transcript. All right, here's the important thing about the transcript. Get to your registrar's office, you place your order for your transcript, and you tell them not to send it until your degree is posted. Do not think that just because you've ended your classes or that you've received your grades, that it's been posted on your transcript. Normally takes registrar's office about 30 days from the date that the grades are sent in before they post. All right, so you want to make sure that you wait until that happens, because if I get a transcript without it, it doesn't do me any good. My rules say that I have to have a posted degree. So without a posted degree, it's not worth anything. 1, 2, oh, that's 5. 6 things. Money, $222.25. $175 of that is the application fee. $47.25 is the criminal background check. It's a pass-through, so we don't make anything off it. It's just, that's what they charge us, so that's what we charge you. All right? And guess what? You give me all that documentation, you're going to get a phone call from me, and I'm going to say, okay, and then I go through my spiel. And I'll do that for you today, too. You'll hear it twice then, so hopefully it sticks. All right? It's very simple. So again, don't stress. You got my telephone number. You got my email address, okay? Now, a few other things about the website so you know how things work around here. All right? On the right side of the web page. Whoops. Why do we do that? I told you, this mouse does not like me. There we go. Over here, we got newsletters. If you want to know what's going on with the board and how things are done, please go here. We just published our latest newsletter. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It talks, we got something from our director, talks about the staff, the board, okay, talks about the customer survey that she was just talking about. We got a new board member. There's all kinds of things on here, okay? And we publish one about once a quarter, okay? There's all kinds of good information on here. And it's a good place to go if you need to know something. All right, now the other thing that's on here that I like to show people, where'd you go? Oh, that's not what I want. Give me a second page, never mind. All right, also over here is links to other organizations. All right, there's one organization that's on here that you ought to talk to at some point. We have state associations. All right, we are a licensing board and our job is consumer protection. That's our main focus. All right, Oregon Counseling Association and the Oregon Association of Marriage and Family Therapists are your advocates. All right, so you should know about them. Okay, if you need help, they're the ones most likely going to be able to help you. The other thing, as far as people helping you, are sitting in this room. Okay, the one thing, I had 25 years as a paralegal. If you walked into an attorney's office, what's the first thing you see? You see all these books. And that's because attorneys don't know everything, even though they want you to think they do. All right, guess what, guys? You don't know everything either. And you need help. So you create groups. You create networking. Guess what? It works. All right? You can bounce ideas off of people. You get to know your friends. Your cohorts are your friends. Make sure that you keep in contact with them because at some point they may be able to help you. All right? Next. This is to help me. Right here in the middle of the page, it says renew licenses. It says click here. All right? That's all you have to do is click it and follow the instructions. That's all you have to do to renew. It's right there. All right? Whenever we have new rules that we're creating, we have a proposed rulemaking section. Okay? You click on it. This is for background checks. All right? It tells you the form, what we're doing, the reason why we're doing, and what the changes are going to be. All right? If you don't like it or you like it and you want to comment on it, you send an email to us letting us know what you think or what you don't think. We propose all our rules that way so you guys can see them and make comment on them. All right? We always love to hear everybody. Okay? You are registered interns when you join the board. You have no continuing education requirement until you are licensed. Your one particular job is learn how to be a good counselor or therapist. That's your job. All right? Make sure that when you pick out your supervisor, you pick out someone you like, someone that can be a mentor to you. You want to make sure it's a good fit because guess what? When you develop that relationship will probably last. All right, so make sure if you have a certain modality that you're looking at practicing, find a supervisor that practices that modality. All right, that way they can help you with it. That way you have someone you can ask those questions that you may not be able to ask someone else who doesn't know. All right, there's a lot of little things. I'm available to answer questions. I know a lot. I don't know everything, but I can also tell you where to go. Now, I have someone that works with me also. Her name is Natalie, and Natalie has been with us for about 6 months now. I've been training her. You can talk to her. If she don't know the answer, she's going to come find me. All right? Now, before I go on, any questions? All right? A lot of people, no questions. That must be either I'm doing my job or I'm boring you. I'm not sure which. All right? Now, the one thing that, first of all, contact us. If you lose my card, here I am. Okay? Email and phone number. So, the other thing that's important, and if you haven't already done so, I recommend that you read our Oregon Administrative Rules, especially Division 100. Division 100 is our code of ethics. All right? You are held responsible to them the moment you become a registered intern. All right. You're also held to it if you happen to be practicing without a license or registration. So you want to know about these rules. Now, is anybody here not planning on becoming a registered intern? All right. Let me tell you, there are a few exceptions to this particular policy, and I'll let you know what they are, okay? They are working for a state agency, working for an agency that receives Medicare funds or Oregon Health Plan funds, or working for drug and alcohol. Okay, currently those are the exemptions, and you don't need to be registered in order to practice. But here's the big thing. All the hours that you acquired won't count unless you are registered. So that's an important thing to remember. You can work, but 5 years down the road, when you want to do your own thing, you're going to go, oops. And all those hours that you acquired will not count because you weren't a registered intern. All right? Now, the biggest thing that you need to remember is I'm here to help you. All right? And I will do whatever I can to make sure that you guys are registered. All right? Well, that was pretty good. 20 minutes, no thing. Let's see what else we got here. Come on. Well, there we go. One more time. Return to home page. Oh, National Counselor's Exam, National Clinical Mental Health Counselor's Exam. Those are two of the three exams that we honor in order to meet the national competency requirement. All right? The national competency requirement just means one of those two exams. All right. National Counselor's Exam is a book exam, which means it's going to cover all the stuff that you guys are learning. All right? The other one is a clinical exam, which means that it has a lot to do with the DSM-5. Now, I'm going to give you one recommendation, and that is take the exam now. All right? Or as soon as you're registered. Because, guess what? You're into studying, whether you like it or not. All right? You're into taking tests, whether you like it or not. All right? You can retain the information now. 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, it becomes more difficult because you're out of practice. All right? So take it now, get it out of the way, because that way you don't have to worry about it. Once you're registered with us, it's good. The application is good, or the examination is good from 10 years from date of application. So in other words, it doesn't matter to you. It's only if you leave application status and come back. And then there are other rules that follow that. So again, don't worry about it. Let me tell you, there are 3 things you have to do in order to become licensed. Education, that's what you're working on. Experience. Experience is 2,400 direct client contact hours under supervision for a minimum of 3 years. But it says and/or equivalent in the rule. The and/or equivalent is we're going to give you 1 year for your student practicum and internship that you do. So you're now down to 2 years under supervision and 2,400 direct client contact hours. It goes together. All right. And believe me, if you get the right job, not too difficult. All right. If you don't get the right job, it could take a while. Now, the other thing is that this is a women-oriented profession, okay? We do take into account that family matters get in the way, all right? So don't feel pressured that you got to get your hours out of the way. There are ways to go around this. There's an administrative rule that says each internship is 5 years. It's administrative. It doesn't mean anything. Because if you don't meet that, what we do is we start you with another internship. We move your hours from one side to the other side, and we continue forward. So don't let that bother you or worry you. You could start now and finish 20 years from now. I have people that do, they have a baby and then they wait for 5 years before they come back because they want to wait till the kid gets into school. All kinds of circumstances. We're here to work with you on that kind of stuff. All right? And the last one, of course, is examination. Okay? So those are the 3 things you must do. Once you get those 3 things done, you're eligible to be licensed. So the moment that you graduate to the moment you can be licensed is a minimum of 2 years, most likely about 2.5. All right? Any questions yet? Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us the website address again? I just got worried about
www.oregon.gov/OBLPCT. Oregon Board, Licensed Professional Counselor, Therapist. Yes, ma'am.
how often do you have to renew?
Once every year. Renewal fee for registered interns is $80 a year. Yes, ma'am.
Once you've completed your hours, then that's a whole nother process. Are we going to be talking about today?
Once you meet all the requirements, there's very little that needs to be done. All right, there's three things. Number one is you got to pay more money. Number two, there's a little demographic form you got to do. We call it payment transmittal form. Number three, you're going to update your professional disclosure statement from registered intern to licensee, and you're done. Very simple. All right, nothing to worry about. Again, we walk you through that process. All right, and that's Connie Brown. She's very, very good at what she's done, and she's been with the board for over 20 years. All right, yes, ma'am.
Is the renewal every year, is that the only communication we have to have with you while we're a registered intern, or are there other?
Well, you don't want to talk to me? Every 6 months, you are going to send in a 6-month supervisor's evaluation and hours report. This is a good question. All right, back to forms. It's actually a long page. We're going to go to the bottom of the page. 6-month intern evaluation report. Page 1 of this report's an evaluation that your supervisor will do. All right, very easy, not a problem. You don't have to worry about it. You just have to make sure it gets done. Page 2, an hours grid. Column A, total hours. Column B, subset of column A, which is where you put couple and family hours if you're working towards marriage and family therapy. None of you should be because you're all LPC candidates. All right, and then we have individual supervision hours. There's 2, 1 for regular, 1 for individual electronic, and then 2 for group supervision. And that's it. You sign it, and you send it to me every 6 months. We're going to go over that in just a few minutes, okay? I will send you a report back. So we do communicate every 6 months, all right? And any other time that you need to. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
If we get licensed in the state of Washington, is there a reciprocation?
Someone always has to ask that question. All right, I'm going to put that one on hold for half a second. Yes, ma'am.
When's the license transfer? What are our continuing education?
40 hours every 2 years, 6 hours have to be of ethics. There is going to be a new requirement that'll be coming out. I think it becomes effective this July, and that's cultural competency. There will be 4 hours of cultural competency that will be required every 2 years also. All right, there's no guidelines on it yet. It's still in the works, okay? But there is a rule that's coming in right now.
In addition to the 40 or as a part of?
It will be as a part of the 40. 40 hours is the great, every once in a while they're going to designate something. And now the state legislature feels that cultural competency should be done, so everyone's doing it. All right, now back to the difficult question. Or the one that I really don't like to answer, but everyone asks. State of Washington and the state of Oregon have differing rules. All right. The biggest difference is that you will see that the state of Washington requires you to have 3,000 hours. Ooh, but don't worry about that because in all honesty, they only require 1,200 direct client contact hours and 1,800 other hours. Report writing, supervision, CEUs, whatever it happens to be that they allow. All right. We require 2,400 direct client contact hours and don't care about any of that other stuff. Because guess what? You're going to do that stuff while you're doing it anyway. So why should we make you report it? All right? So you've heard a difference here, 12 and 24. Yes, there is a substantial difference in the requirement. All right? There is one thing that we don't allow to happen is you still must remain under supervision for a minimum of 2 years. So even if you get your state of Washington license in 13 months, you will not be able to be licensed in Oregon until you've been under supervision for 2 years and can show me that you did it. All right? Now, the reciprocity rules are this, okay? You have to be licensed, you have to meet our requirements, you got to pass the exam, and you got to pay the money. All right? It always comes down to the money. All right? You know, we have a lot of people that work back and forth across the river. Remember this also. If you're working here, you got to be registered here. If you're working there, you have to be an LMHC, LMHA, Licensed Mental Health Associate. Licensed Mental Health Counselor is the equivalent of our LPC. All right? So you have to be registered with the board, whatever it happens to be. Now, if you're only working in Washington, I don't want to talk to you. Because I don't care, because your hours will count because you're having them in Washington. So once you get everything there, then we'll talk. All right, it's only when you're working here that I really want to talk to you. If you want questions answered about Washington, I can tell you what I know. But Department of Health is the one you need to talk to if you're in Washington. And I have people that bounce back and forth over the river all the time. All right, so we do talk, but you know, in all honesty, wherever you're registered or as an associate is who you want to talk to. All right, California has registered interns. Idaho has LPCs. What? Yeah. Oh, that's the equivalent of our registered intern. Their license is actually LCPC, Licensed Clinical Professional Counselor. All right, so there are different names, different places, different requirements. If anyone ever tells you that their rules are the most stringent in the country, you tell them, nope, Oregon is. We require the most direct client contact hours of any state. Even though they may say they need 3,000, 4,000, whatever it happens to be, most of those are indirect. All right, so once you come out of being a registered intern in this state, you've got plenty of experience at what you're doing. All right, any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you have to take the NCE or another examination more than once, or is that just when you get your license the first time and you never have to take it again?
Good question. You have to pass it once. All right. And I did say that one other thing is if you happen to go and come back, as long as it's within 10 years of date of application. All right. There's different rules for reciprocity. We won't go into that. Someone over, yes, sir.
With related to transfer from Washington.
Mhm.
After licensure, you mentioned, so 2 years of supervision, is that including the 2,400 hours?
No, see, we have, there are different reciprocity rules than there are registered intern rules. So you still have to have 2,400 hours, but only 1,000 of them under reciprocity, or actually now it's 1,200. 1,200 of them, which is the equivalent of Washington, direct client contact hours. So we allow for those indirect hours in the reciprocity.
So there's no, as far as 2 years of supervision, there's no requirement of how many hours per supervised hour?
No. But here's the thing, if you are still under supervision, if you are still collecting direct client contact hours, you want to maintain all of that and good records. And when you transfer or you apply, you want to make sure all those hours are given to your board, because we can verify those numbers. If we don't have them, we can't verify them. And guess what? There's other certifications and things that you may want to do later on in your career, and they're going to ask for verification from us. All right, we're a primary source verifier, so that means whatever information we have in-house, we have verified. All right, so if you got those hours, let us know about it. There's one more over here. Yes, ma'am.
When do we need to apply to be a registered intern?
Another good question. All right, you are students until the day you have a posted degree. Once you have a posted degree, you are now a part of the workforce. Okay, which means at that point you need to be registered if you want to counsel. All right, unless it's in one of those exemptions that I talked about. All right, I recommend if you're getting graduated in May, start the application process now. All right, the application is good for a year. Remember, it's only 6 things. It's very easy. All right, the only thing that's going to be difficult for you if you apply right now is you don't have a transcript. Then you just stand on the registrar's desk and you say, I want it. All right. I do believe Western Seminary now has electronic delivery systems for the transcripts, okay? I get those within a day or two, so it's not a big deal once it's posted, all right? So yes, as soon as you have a posted degree, you need to be a registered intern if you have clients that you want to see. If you're taking time off, you know, you're going to go see the world, you're jealous here, all right? You can do that. It's just when you come back, you need to be registered, okay? Yes, ma'am.
You've been talking about submitting hours, direct client contact hours, supervisor hours. Are there any glaring mistakes that you see come across your desk that would be?
Yeah, you don't get them to me on time, and I'll go over that in just a few minutes too. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
Do our client hours as a student work toward needed hours?
You may receive up to 400 direct client contact hours. Dr. Bruce, who do they go see to talk about that?
Shanika keeps track.
Shanique, okay, is she the one that does the hour sheet? Form 2A. Oops, up here. Form 2A. this form right here. It is a one-page form that the graduate department will complete for you, sign off on it, and either email or send it to me. She can email it to me. I don't know if she's been doing that. All right. I haven't changed this form. It's old, but I still accept it that way. All right. And you can get up to 400 hours, so that means all you need is 200 if you have that many, or whatever amount you have is what we give you credit for. Anything else? All right. Dr. Bruce is registering as an intern. I have given her a call because I have her file on my desk and everything is there. All right. What I do is I have my world famous spiel. Okay. And this is all the information that I will give you when we actually do this about 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the road. I'm going to ask you, have you and your supervisor had supervision yet? Because I'm going to determine what your start date is. All right. I'm going to ask you, do you have any client contact hours? I can go back to the date of the application. So if you did it in January, January is when I'm probably going to give you a start date. We're going to use January because it's easier to talk about. So I tell you that your start date is January 1st, 2016. Why am I telling you this? Is that because part of my job, which I thoroughly hate, is denying hours. I don't like doing that. All right. Your 6-month reporting period will be January 1st through June 30th, 2016. Your report will be due no later than July 31st, 2016. All right. Now, we're going to use that same thing to determine when you should have put it in and when your hours are no longer any good. So it's January to June with the report due July 31st. If you submit that report to me August 1st or later, you lose all your hours. Don't like doing that, especially since how you saw the report. It's very simple. Evaluation by your supervisor, hours grid, and sign it. Easy peasy. All right? Now, and I'll be sending you a copy of that report with your official paperwork that by the time you guys are ready for it will come by email. All right? It's also located on the website, again, where you can find it. Then all you have to do once it's filled out is send it to me. And you can send it to me by email, fax, regular mail. You can drop it by the office. You can send it to me by carrier pigeon or paper airplane. Frankly, I don't care. I just want the report so I don't have to deny your hours. All right. Now, I do recommend that you and your supervisor do this report your last supervision meeting of your reporting period. So in June. That way on the 1st of July, all you have to do is send it to me. You're done. No problem. All right. Now, the other way that people lose hours is they don't get enough supervision during a month. Supervision rules, which are on page 1 of Form 7 at the bottom, are thus. It's a 2-tiered system, under 46 and 46 and above. If you have under 46 direct client contact hours in any given month, you need 2 hours of supervision. 1 hour has to be individual. The other hour can be individual or group supervision. If you have 46 or more direct client contact hours in any given month, you need 3 hours of supervision. 1.5 hours has to be individual. The other hour and a half can be individual or group supervision. Now, those are the mandatory minimums. You can have a lot more supervision, just never less than that. All right. Now, 2 more things. Number 1, my email address. You all have that. Keep that handy. Remember, it is tough to get a hold of me by phone because normally I'm on the phone. Okay? And the last thing, I give everybody permission to bug me. So never think you are. If you got any questions or problems, you get a hold of me or Natalie, and we'll do whatever we can to answer your questions. Now, your turn. Any more questions? Yes, Dr. Bruce.
What difference does coming from a K-CREP accredited school mean to the licensing board?
As of January 1, 2022, a lot. Okay? As of that particular date, the only way you can become a nationally certified counselor is by coming from the K-CREP accredited program. Number 2, if you want to see veterans and receive insurance? I'm trying to buy TRICARE. If you want to receive TRICARE reimbursement, you have to have passed the National Counselor's Mental Health Counseling Exam and be from a K-CREP accredited program. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a pretty specific question.
Okay.
Upon graduation, you become a registered intern with Oregon, and
and you get hired to work in parole and probation for the state,
Mhm.
do those hours and your supervision that you have going on over there count towards LPC?
Certainly. Your counseling, doesn't matter who you're counseling, and you'll have a supervisor. There are plenty of good supervisors in DOC. You can also have supervision from outside there too. So yes, not a problem.
Are there any other type of government or state situations in which that would apply also, other than parole and probation?
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you have a question of whether or not hours will count, number one, call me. I will give you my knowledge that I have. But who's your best resource? Your supervisor. All right? Like I said, I have an MBA. I do not have a Marriage of Arts in counseling, okay? I have learned a lot, okay? And I can give you the wisdom of my years and tell you whether it's going to work or not. And please do call me, because I will tell you most of the time, yes, that counts. There are a lot of situations, specific situations, that I may not know the answer. All right? And so as long as you and your supervisor talk and are in agreement that it works, I'm going to accept that. Yes, sir.
Do you have to get hours in the state that you're trying to get licensed in? Or can I get hours, say, in Oregon and apply them to a Washington licensure or vice versa?
Most of the time that answer is yes. If you remember earlier, I told you I have supervisors all over the world. All right, I have a supervisor that has been working out of Thailand. She works for a large corporation, has been licensed, and was a registered intern with this board. She's been here for many years. She sees people from China, okay, Taiwan, Japan. They fly in to see her on individual supervision. There are special rules that we can talk about if that situation occurs to you. We also have supervisors in Germany. We have supervisors in a lot of different states. We also have supervisor in Alaska, and we created a rule because during the winter months, his people couldn't get to him. All right, and so we created some special rules that apply to people who are in Burns and their supervisors in Portland. All right, there's a lot of different things that we've done in order to help. All right. Oh, it looks like my time is almost done. I like this. All right. One more time, I just want to reiterate that most of the time your answers, okay, are going to be on this webpage. All right? Sometimes it's hard to wade through anybody's website, no matter what you do. So don't get hung up. If you can't find the answer, get a hold of me or Natalie, and we'll be more than happy to take care of it. All right? And again, that's the website. Let's make sure I am not running across anything. We have a to Z thing here. A lot of times the information there is good. Other than that, remember to read the rules. If you got any questions, call me, email me. And there's a lot of you guys. That means a lot of work for me. All right. I think we're done.